On July 27, 2025, the atmosphere above the tumultuous skies of eastern Ukraine trembled with an intense, foreboding energy. From within the confines of a strategic Russian base that had been captured in the Donetsk region, an impressive and formidable armored column began to roll forward, advancing ominously toward the west. The sight was daunting, as a swarm of suicide drones buzzed and darted ahead of the main force, their purpose clear and deadly. Meanwhile, the sleek and imposing T-90 tanks, polished and glistening under the radiant rays of the rising sun, moved in unison, creating a spectacle that showcased their might. Elite troops, hand-picked for their skills and rigorously trained in the art of warfare, strode purposefully, fully armed and brimming with confidence. These soldiers were driven by an unwavering belief that the campaign would culminate in what they anticipated would be a swift and easy victory against their less prepared adversary. However, within a remarkably short span of just 85 minutes, this highly coordinated and expensive assault, amounting to an astonishing $370 million in military investment, would come crashing down, leaving behind nothing but a haunting scene of destruction and chaos. A total of 42 armored vehicles lay in ruins, reduced to smoldering heaps of shattered metal. The loss was staggering, with 230 soldiers either killed in the line of duty or captured in a swift turnaround that no one had deemed possible. To compound the severity of the situation, one regimental commander was taken alive, his capture a significant and pivotal event, as he possessed critical intelligence that had the potential to alter the course of the war in unforeseen ways. This intense confrontation was anything but ordinary. It transcended the basic notion of battle, representing a dynamic clash of advanced tactics and raw physical power. Here, the contest emerged as one of precision against unyielding force, intellectual foresight pitted against sheer brute strength. The ensuing events would be meticulously analyzed and studied, as they offered invaluable insights and lessons. It became a modern military case study, highlighting the importance of strategy and tactical cunning when faced with a stronger foe. In this scenario, the underdog, equipped with an astute understanding of the battlefield and innovative tactics, showcased how the art of outthinking an overwhelmingly powerful adversary could lead not only to survival, but to a remarkable and unexpected triumph. In the early hours of July 27th, a significant and alarming development was detected by US and NATO satellites. These high-tech eyes in the sky observed something that could only be described as unprecedented within the context of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. A colossal mechanized force making its way westward across the Ukrainian landscape. However, to the astonishment of analysts and military experts alike, this formidable force did not belong to Russia, a common presumption given the many military engagements taking place in the region. Instead, the invading force was identified as North Korean. As the situation unfolded, markings on the hulls of the vehicles confirmed what many had feared. The reclusive regime in Pyongyang had officially entered the fray of war, aligning itself with the Russian efforts in a rather unexpected maneuver. Leading this unconventional assault were 80 suicide drones, each one engineered to carry an alarming payload of explosives sufficient to devastate fortified positions and tear through reinforced bunkers with explosive force. The strategic deployment of these drones hinted at a sophisticated level of warfare that could significantly alter the dynamics of the battlefield. Following closely behind this menacing wave of drones were an impressive array of heavy military hardware, including 60 T-90 main battle tanks, renowned for their advanced technology and formidable capabilities in ground combat. Accompanying the tanks were 40 armored troop carriers, specifically designed to transport troops while offering protection from enemy fire, ensuring that personnel could be deployed wherever the fight demanded. In total, over 800 elite infantry troops accompanied these mechanized units, showcasing North Korea's intent to fully engage in military actions on foreign soil, which is a remarkable shift in their operational philosophy. Western military analysts, upon evaluating this unprecedented military display, estimated the entire operation's value to be around $370 million, a staggering figure, particularly noteworthy given that North Korea has been laboring under the weight of severe international sanctions designed to cripple its economy and undermine its military ambitions. This revelation prompted discussions among policymakers and military strategists about the implications of such investment in warfare, especially from a nation with limited economic resources. North Korea's decisive action conveyed a clear and unmistakable message. They were not merely providing indirect support to their ally Russia. Rather, they were making a bold statement intended to incite fear and unease across NATO's eastern flank. By showcasing their military capabilities and willingness to intervene directly in the Ukrainian conflict, North Korea sought to demonstrate that they possessed both the means and the intent to influence geopolitical stability in ways previously unimagined. But they didn't know that Ukraine had been expecting them. What North Korea's drones failed to observe was a meticulously constructed trap, one that encompassed an expansive 3 square miles of farmland, which had been strategically transformed into one of the most lethal minefields encountered during the ongoing war. This well-calculated deception was designed to create an appearance of safety, while concealing the dangers that lay beneath the surface. Under the leadership of General Mykolaichenko, the soldiers of Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade dedicated a grueling 17 nights to the arduous task of burying hundreds of anti-tank mines, each one meticulously arranged in layered kill zones to maximize their destructive efficiency. The engineers did not employ a haphazard method. Instead, they utilized a combination of advanced technologies including pressure plates, infrared triggers, and seismic sensors to create an intricate network of explosives. This was not merely an act of randomness. It epitomized the very essence of tactical brilliance, a masterful form of military artistry that illustrated the lengths to which they were willing to go to defend their territory. Deliberately designed narrow, safe lanes were left open within this minefield, effectively luring enemy tanks into choke points where they could be easily neutralized. To an observer from above, the area may have appeared to be nothing more than a serene and tranquil countryside, with lush fields sprawling under a clear sky. However, unbeknownst to the unsuspecting enemy, below that seemingly peaceful exterior lay a deadly landscape, an explosive trap primed to unleash chaos at a moment's notice. At precisely 7:03 a.m., the first T-90 tank, a formidable piece of military machinery, crossed what could be described as an invisible line, one that signified entry into the carefully orchestrated trap. Mere seconds after it breached this threshold, the massive tank, weighing in at a staggering 65 tons, became airborne in an extraordinary display of destruction. Its turret was violently hurled nearly 50 feet into the air. In a breathtakingly short span of just 4 minutes, a total of 17 tanks were obliterated in a spectacular display of engineering and precision, without a single Ukrainian shell having been fired. This tactical engagement was not only a triumph of strategy, but also a testament to the ingenuity employed not just in combat, but in understanding the battlefield itself, leaving a profound impact on the course of the conflict. At precisely 7:15 a.m., the situation escalated dramatically as Ukraine transitioned into Phase 2 of its operation. In a carefully orchestrated maneuver, 32 T-84 Oplot tanks, renowned for their advanced armor and firepower, surged forward from their concealed positions. Each tank's engines roared to life, creating a menacing sound that echoed across the battlefield, signifying the beginning of an intense assault. In this critical phase, the 10 Bodana self-propelled howitzers joined the fray, their artillery systems expertly honing in on targets with GPS-guided rounds that boasted an impressive accuracy of within 2 meters, allowing for precise strikes against enemy formations. Meanwhile, the North Korean formation, already thrown into disarray due to the previously laid mines, found itself in a dire predicament with little opportunity to regroup or establish any semblance of order. The chaos on the ground was palpable. Tank turrets began to spin wildly as crews rushed to respond to the unexpected onslaught, while soldiers frantically scrambled for cover amidst the chaos. The earlier calm that had blanketed the area was shattered, replaced by frantic radio chatter that quickly devolved into panic. Commands became muddled, and cries for assistance resonated through the air as the reality of their precarious situation sunk in. Within the first 90 seconds of the offensive, the situation deteriorated rapidly for the North Korean forces, with 9 additional tanks being destroyed in swift succession. The T-84 Oplot's powerful artillery proved devastating. In a display of sheer firepower, one single Oplot shell not only penetrated the armor of a stationary enemy tank, but also proceeded to pierce through to hit 2 armored carriers in a single, devastating shot, demonstrating the efficiency and lethal capability of the Ukrainian forces. As the offensive progressed, it became apparent that the tactical trap laid by Ukraine was tightening around the beleaguered enemy, leaving them with dwindling options and a rapidly collapsing defense. In a dramatic display of aerial combat, a total of 33 surviving suicide drones launched an aggressive assault as they dove relentlessly toward Ukrainian armored forces, executing a desperate counterstrike in an attempt to gain the upper hand in the conflict. However, the Ukrainian defense was more than prepared for this onslaught, as evidenced by their deployment of the formidable Shovel 6 rotary cannons. These advanced weapon systems, capable of unleashing an astonishing 4,000 rounds per minute, transformed the battlefield into a chaotic storm enveloped in a hail of lead. In a matter of just 4 minutes, a staggering 47 out of the original 53 drones were obliterated midair, the remnants of their metallic frames disintegrating against the sheer volume of firepower directed at them. Among the few drones that managed to evade the intense barrage and detonated directly above the armored tank turrets, the impact of their explosions was significantly mitigated, thanks to the innovative design of reactive armor panels, which are specifically engineered to counteract blast effects. These blasts were effectively redirected harmlessly into the sky, preventing any damage to the vital equipment and personnel beneath. As the battle raged on, electronic warfare units seamlessly integrated their advanced tactics into the defensive strategy. They inundated the airwaves with misleading and false GPS signals, skillfully luring the remaining drones away from Ukrainian positions and directing them instead into desolate fields and dilapidated barns, far from any strategic targets. This cunning manipulation of technology showcased not only the sophistication of Ukraine's military capabilities, but also its commitment to safeguarding its forces and resources. With the last remnants of the drone assault neutralized, the skies above the battlefield fell silent, now clear of any immediate threats. What had initially seemed like a precarious situation gave way to a moment of triumph for the Ukrainian defense, a testament to their resilience and adaptability in the face of a formidable aerial attack. With the air threat effectively neutralized, Ukrainian forces quickly shifted their focus, allowing their howitzers to come into action. Stationed strategically and operating from a distance of approximately 600 meters, these formidable artillery units unleashed a relentless barrage of shells that rained down upon the retreating North Korean military units. The precision and power of their assault contributed significantly to disrupting the enemy's efforts to regroup and escape. In a particularly impactful moment, a single, well-placed shell found its target, igniting a fuel truck that was unfortunately stationed nearby. This explosive encounter didn't stop there. The resulting fireball was catastrophic, as it engulfed not only the fuel truck, but also 3 medical vehicles that were in the vicinity. The horrifying scene unfolded as flames rapidly consumed the essential support equipment, creating a devastating spectacle on the battlefield. The landscape became a chaotic mix of burning wrecks and thick plumes of smoke rising ominously into the air, serving as a grim reminder of the fierce conflict. The morale of the North Korean troops, already waning in the face of relentless pressure, was dealt another crushing blow as they witnessed their logistical support and medical assistance turn to ash. Yet, amidst this devastation, it was crucial to acknowledge that Ukraine's offensive was far from over. The initial barrage can only be seen as the opening chapter in a much broader and more destructive campaign. The most devastating phase of their military operation was still on the horizon, implying that Ukraine had more tactical plans in store, which would further tilt the balance of power on the battlefield. As the dust settled and the smoke began to clear, anticipation mounted regarding the unfolding strategy that would define the next segment of this intense confrontation. The stage was set for an even more ferocious engagement, one that would likely reshape the dynamics of this conflict further. For a span of 36 meticulously planned hours leading up to the attack, a force of 850 Ukrainian infantry soldiers had taken refuge in a variety of concealed locations, including trenches dug into the earth, old barns that provided ample cover, and at the edges of dense forests. These soldiers had employed a range of camouflage techniques and remained utterly motionless, adopting a strategy designed specifically to avoid detection by enemy drones that patrolled the skies looking for any sign of their presence. The careful and strategic preparations were aimed at ensuring that they maintained the element of surprise, which was deemed crucial for the success of their imminent operation. When the signal for attack finally arrived, an unmistakable cue that had been anticipated with great focus and intensity, the soldiers sprang into action, rising from their hiding places like phantoms emerging from the ground, having blended so seamlessly into their surroundings. The scale and swiftness of their movement created an almost supernatural effect as they executed their plan. The teams armed with RPG, 29 rocket-propelled grenade launchers swiftly zeroed in on the troop carriers of the enemy. Their training had prepared them to effectively take down these vital logistical assets, which were essential for the movement and supply of North Korean troops. At the same time, highly skilled snipers, equipped with advanced thermal scopes, took their positions and began to methodically eliminate key personnel among the opposing forces. These elite marksmen had a particular focus on the commanders, their keen eyesight able to identify leadership insignia that denoted rank and importance, thus allowing them to strike at the heart of the enemy's decision-making capability and chaos ensuing from the loss of their leaders. As the operation unfolded, the explosion of an ammunition truck marked a critical turning point in the battle. The blast was so powerful that the shockwave it generated not only obliterated the immediate vicinity, but also sent a forceful wave traveling through the air, which resulted in windows shattering up to half a mile away. The sheer destructive force served not just as a tactical advantage, but also as a psychological blow to the enemy forces. By the end of the first 6 minutes of this unexpectedly ferocious engagement, the outcome was already staggering. Over 110 North Korean soldiers had either lost their lives or were left wounded, creating a significant impact on the morale and operational capability of their units. Hours earlier, a skilled unit from Ukraine's 3rd Airborne Reconnaissance Division had expertly infiltrated deep behind enemy lines, utilizing a network of aging Soviet-era drainage tunnels that had long since been forgotten by most. These dark, damp passages provided a crucial advantage, allowing the troops to navigate stealthily and avoid detection as they plotted their next moves. Their strategic entry point laid the groundwork for a precise operation. They were tasked specifically with cutting off any potential escape routes for the opposing forces. Now, having successfully emerged from the shadowy confines of the tunnels, they took swift action to seal off the escape route, effectively cornering their adversaries. The scene that unraveled before them was one of chaos and desperation. Caught in an inescapable trap, the North Korean troops found themselves sandwiched between the relentless advance of the Ukrainian armored vehicles and the determined firepower of Ukrainian infantry sweeping in from behind. The reality of their situation hit hard as they realized they were being shredded from both sides by relentless attacks that left little room for maneuver. In the face of overwhelming odds and surrounded by hostile forces, some of the beleaguered North Korean soldiers instinctively sought to flee, driven by a primal urge to survive. Others, seeing the futility of their situation and the inevitability of defeat, raised their hands in surrender, hoping for mercy amid the chaos. However, there was truly no viable way out for them. The carefully orchestrated Ukrainian operation had effectively boxed them in, leaving them with no avenues of escape. The tense atmosphere hung thick in the air, punctuated only by the sounds of conflict as the soldiers faced the grim reality of being trapped in a no-win scenario. In the chaotic aftermath of a collapsed command vehicle, amidst the scattered debris and signs of a fierce battle, a group of Ukrainian medics stumbled upon a critically injured individual. This man, clad in a tattered uniform that suggested he was just a low-ranking soldier, attempted to mask his true identity, hoping to blend into the wreckage and evade detection. However, the nature of his disguise was ultimately ineffective. A distinctive officer's cap, elegantly satin-lined and representational of higher rank, served as an unmistakable indicator that he was not simply another foot soldier caught in the fray. It soon became clear that this individual was none other than Colonel Kim In-ho, the esteemed commander of North Korea's 42nd Armored Regiment, a unit known for its pivotal strategic operations. His capture was a significant development in the ongoing conflict and carried implications that extended well beyond the immediate battle. As the medic team worked diligently to stabilize his condition, they discovered critical intelligence on his person, encrypted solid-state drives, SSDs, that contained highly sensitive battle plans outlining strategies for 4 different fronts. This intelligence could potentially reshape the course of the conflict, providing invaluable insights into North Korean military operations and future maneuvers. Once he was deemed stable enough to be moved, Colonel Kim In-ho was airlifted from the war zone under the strictest of security measures. Heavy military personnel were assigned to ensure that he reached safety without any attempt at rescue or escape by hostile forces. His capture was heralded as the most significant acquisition of the war thus far, sparking discussions among military strategists and allies about the potential advantages his intelligence could provide. The implications of this event would undoubtedly ripple through both the battlegrounds and the higher echelons of military leadership, marking a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and North Korea's military forces. By 8:05 a.m., the offensive had come to an abrupt end, marking a significant moment in the ongoing conflict. In a startling display of military engagement, 42 armored vehicles were rendered inoperable, effectively removed from the battlefield, showcasing the tactical prowess displayed during the skirmish. Additionally, the conflict resulted in the neutralization of 230 soldiers, indicating substantial losses for the opposing forces. Among the captured, there was one regimental commander who was taken into custody by Ukrainian forces, further highlighting the unfolding shifts in power dynamics within the contested zone. In a noteworthy twist, for the first time throughout the duration of the conflict, North Korean state media went eerily silent for a prolonged period of 36 hours. This unusual lack of communication raised eyebrows and sparked speculation regarding the implications it held for the regime's transparency and their ability to control the narrative surrounding the ongoing hostilities. Concurrently, Western intelligence agencies reported a developing situation within the upper echelons of the military command, revealing that multiple generals were now under scrutiny. Disturbingly, one high-ranking official was apprehended while attempting to flee the capital, suggesting an alarming level of disarray and potential dissent within the ranks. This incident hinted at internal strife and raised questions about leadership stability amidst the chaos of battle. Amidst the widespread devastation and turmoil that marked the battlefield, there emerged one striking image that captured the attention of the global audience and soon went viral. A Ukrainian corporal kneeling on the rough, uneven ground beside a visibly trembling 19-year-old North Korean conscript, extending a humble gesture of compassion by offering him a bottle of water. This poignant scene served as a powerful reminder that, despite the advanced technology represented by armed drones buzzing overhead and the heavy armor clashing in the distance, this conflict fundamentally remained a war fought between human beings, a stark reflection of personal struggles, emotions, and the complexity of human relations amidst chaos. It highlighted that, amidst the cacophony of gunfire and the orchestrated strategies of military might, there existed a realm where patience, precision, and basic humanity could prevail, potentially influencing the course of battles. Not just in terms of strategic gains, but also in reaching out to the hearts and minds of individuals involved in warfare. This moment of kindness, stark against the backdrop of hostility and conflict, showcased how even in the direst situations, acts of compassion can resonate deeply, fostering connections that transcend national allegiances and enmities, reminding us that the soldiers on the ground possess their own fears, hopes, and humanity. Such gestures can reshape perceptions and instill a sense of shared experience, revealing that war, while often reducing people to mere statistics, ultimately involves individuals with stories, families, and dreams just like anyone else. In just 85 minutes, Ukraine dismantled one of the boldest mechanized assaults of the 21st century, not with overwhelming firepower, but with foresight, engineering, and restraint. This battle will be studied for decades, not just for its military brilliance, but for the reminder that strength isn't measured in missiles fired, but in the wisdom to outthink and the courage to wait. If you found this story as extraordinary as we did, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below. Tell us, what do you think this battle means for the future of warfare? Because the war isn't just fought on the battlefield. It's fought in the minds of those who watch, learn, and remember.